Hello. Where'd you come from? You've been there. I don't love that we can see the graveyard from the window.
Oh, the graveyard's nothing.
It is daytime, so there's that. That's helpful.
You can't, like, they're not real graves. They're, like, just the flower ones.
But they're...
Oh, fuck! I just realized what I knocked over.
Drink?
Yeah, surprisingly nothing really spills.
Okay.
Sorry, that was very dramatic.
Especially when you just talked about the graveyard.
Oh, fuck!
And then I'm like, ghost!
Drink.
Well, it's still a real graveyard, even if it's not like a headstone. It's still graves.
I know.
You can't say it's not real. You'll anger them.
No, I respectfully pray over here every day. Okay.
Okay. Clap.
Yeah. We changed our setup! Yay!
Hello.
We have a new background. If you can see a little bit of it, it was supposed to be a little lower. But that's okay.
It's okay.
Hi, welcome to the Music Lens podcast with me, Alex Allegra.
And Katie Fee.
So, this week's episode...
I think we're gonna do some songwriting basics, but let's do some like current event stuff first, just to like
lots been going on.
Catch up with some stuff too.
We are trying to figure out our recording schedule at the moment as well. Lots going on these next couple months, so we're trying to figure out what's going to be the best approach to content for the next couple of months.
Trying to find time to make sure we can still keep a consistent release schedule.
And Katie and I have
episodes.
some vacations coming up, so we're going to be separated a little bit. So we're trying to like find times when we're together. Specifically in June, not really May as much of a problem. But
probably going to be doing a lot of like prep, recording the episodes way in advance. So the June ones probably will not have as much like current event stuff because they will be done in May, probably.
We're not sure yet.
Well, we're figuring it out. But yeah, there might be like a time jump once we get to like
fair
July,
warning. There
like
might
all
be
of a sudden,
but we'll keep you guys
lots to catch
updated.
up on.
That's where you guys got to go to our Instagrams and stuff because we'll keep you updated there. Make some graphics. But we want to get some kind of unique content with the fact that so many events are coming up and coming out. And so we wanted to try and do something a little different other than just sitting here on the couch. So, let us know if you have if you're an independent artist out there, and specifically around the time of CMA Fest, if you're doing anything with CMA Fest and would love to have some interviews or something like that, we'll post a thing on our Instagram.
Yeah, we can do that.
If you're listening way down the future line of this podcast, then exclude this part.
Disregard. But if you're listening in time with when this comes out, if you're doing anything CMA Fest, need content, or we could do interviews. We haven't really figured it out yet, but
we want to do
let
something
us know
cool
what
with
you think
it.
would be cool.
Yeah,
and then we can kind of base it off what people want.
Yeah.
But looking forward to CMA Fest. That's like a month away.
Yeah. I have CMA Fest, and then I go to Bonnaroo the next week, and then I go on vacation the week after that. So
yeah. I can't go to Bonnaroo with you. I'm sorry.
I know.
I'll be in South Dakota on a little mini tour, so that'll be fun. I haven't officially announced that, but hey, exclusive. Exclusive to the podcast. I'm pretty sure I'm announcing it sometime in the next week or two, so a little early announcement here. There we go.
Nice.
But I think one of the things that we're gonna start trying to do on our socials is to start to like share these current events on those socials. So I guess even if we're doing episodes well in advance, our socials will still have some current event stuff going on. Tuesday News Day I thought would be fun because it rhymes. So we're gonna start doing that, and I think that's the first thing we'll cover today is the one that I'm gonna be posting. It'll be, if you're listening to this on release day, it'll be tomorrow. Will be the first Tuesday News Day. And it's a topic that we did a whole episode on of UMG versus TikTok when back in January UMG took all their music off TikTok. It's gonna come back. They figured out a licensing deal. So I have an article from Music Business Worldwide, And basically they did like a joint press release on May 2nd and said that the deal will deliver significant industry-leading benefits for UMG's global family of artists, songwriters, and labels, and will return their music to TikTok's billion-plus global community. And so now they're like working together to like, sorry, I'm like, do I read? Do I summarize? I don't remember what I'm saying if I'm summarizing. They're basically trying to work together to like find ways to help the artists like promote themselves and grow on TikTok. But
is it just for Universal, or is it going to be to benefit all artists?
I feel like it will benefit. So the Sir Lucian Grange, chairman and CEO of UMG, said this new chapter in our relationship with TikTok focuses on the value of music, the primacy of human artistry, and the welfare of the creative community. We look forward to collaborating with the team at TikTok to further the interests of our artists and songwriters and drive innovation and fan engagement while advancing social music monetization. Also, all the songs are supposed to be back up in like 1 to 2 weeks. And if you used a UMG song on a video and it got muted, it will be unmuted. So that's nice.
Yay. I have some like dance TikToks that I was like trying to post and like trying to get around it with other music. They grabbed that off immediately. And I was like, crap.
They're going to work together to realize new monetization opportunities using TikTok's e-commerce capabilities and work together on campaigns supporting UMG artists across genres and territories globally. I feel like I read something that was like TikTok said it will continue to invest significant resources into building artist-centric tools. And so that includes like the add to music app feature, data analytics, and integrated ticketing capabilities, which seems interesting. But I know data and analytics is good for like analyzing your audience and all that. So I feel like that's for everybody, something that you can do or utilize, not just UMG artists.
I do think that it is kind of annoying that like TikTok, you have to have certain number. Well, I know at least for like getting a link in your bio, you have to have a certain number of followers. But
I'm trying.
It's just like odd because every other platform you can put a link in your bio. It's like it's not that uncommon, so it just seems a little annoying if anything. And it just takes away from like you being on that app, which is hard in marketing of like you want to find a way to keep people engaged and
you
not have to
make it easy for people to find your music and stuff. And like I know for like pre-save campaigns it's hard without a link on TikTok, because then you're like, go to my Instagram link in bio on my Instagram, and that's like extra steps. And the more steps you make people go through to get to a pre-save link, the less likely they're gonna do it.
Yeah, which I know 1,000 followers doesn't seem like a lot, but
it takes time.
Sometimes when you're building out
you're
small
stuck in the
and
200 views
and like you're just trying to get that right algorithm into the content, and just like
I've been just like trying to post covers with like a POV, like you followed a small independent artist and helped them get to 1,000. Now you're watching a live stream and they're taking your song request. So just trying to like, that's the ones I get the most followers, because it has like a call to action in the text of like, okay, I'll follow, I'll support. But also the add to music app feature, I feel like will help with the lack of link a little bit, because if you are approved as like an artist account, then your music is linked to your TikTok account, and it makes it easier for people to find it on streaming platforms that way. So I'm hoping that helps a little bit, but the link is still important, and I wish that was a thing still for under 1,000, because that just seems, I kind of get the streaming aspect of like maybe narrowing down the amount of people trying to live stream, but link, what's that hurting to have that ability?
That's just what baffles me about the link is like why is that such a big problem? But or at least just for like business and artist profiles, like people that are like genuinely like, trying to reach an audience.
Your qualification, instead of a follower amount, have it be like, okay, you need to have a business or an artist page or some more official page than the personal one. That's annoying. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. We'll link this, so I guess if there's more stuff you want to learn about it, they go into more detail, but I think that's the most important part, is that they are working to help with fan engagement and monetization, and it seems like it will help all artists, not just UMG artists.
Yeah, nice.
So that's that. And that's gonna be our Tuesday news day. So you're gonna know about it already if you listen to this before Tuesday, the 7th. The other thing I wanted to talk about is, I don't know if y'all heard everyone complaining about Eric Church's headlining performance at Stagecoach, but people, like, a bunch of people were leaving, and they were complaining because it was an hour and 13 minutes long medley, acoustic up until about the hour mark, and it was primarily gospel music and covers, and not as many of, like, even his songs. It was not necessarily his, like, big hit number one songs. So people were like, that's not what they were expecting, so they just got mad and left. But it's like, he was just trying to be experimental and just kind of do something different and challenge himself as an artist. So I just kind of think it's like the debate of being an artist and following your heart, doing what you want, trying to challenge yourself to grow, versus catering to the audience and what they are expecting and wanting out of you as an artist.
Yeah, with this topic, we wanted to kind of start a conversation and, you know, maybe take it to you guys as well. Leave some opinions in the comments of these posts when we post it. But I think I see both sides of it.
Right.
Like, I think for an audience like a Stagecoach, especially in the country market, you expect to go and get big band hits. And Stagecoach, and like I say, in specifically the country market, because something like a pop version of Stagecoach is Coachella.
Yeah.
But at Coachella, you expect to have that big visual and, like, maybe different approach as an artist. And I think that's what separates the country versus the pop. Whereas country is still very much set in, like, you expect, because a lot of those artists that are already there, like your Luke Bryans and your Jason Aldeans and your just any of those.
I don't even know who was there other than Eric this year.
Yeah, honestly, and I don't care for some of those people I mentioned.
Just kind of, Stagecoach snuck up on me this year, and I didn't really pay attention because I was like, oh, well, I guess I know Miranda did because they.
I know Miranda did.
The Highway.
I know Megan Maroney was
live streaming
there.
It, so we listened to it last weekend, and I know it was Miranda because she had Reba come out and play, so I got to hear that portion of it while we were in the truck. But Malone was there.
Post Malone.
He did like a country
Morgan
cover
Wallen
set.
was there.
That's right, because Eric came back out to play their
Hardy
cover
was
together.
there. I want to say
their song together.
Yeah. Hardy was there.
Was I don't remember.
He was at least in the Morgan Wallen set.
Yeah, people like to bring out guests, I think, with Stagecoach. So maybe it is kind of like Coachella in the way of
I think you want to bring the guests out, but I think especially at Stagecoach and in the country market, you're expected, because even at those concerts, you're getting a greatest hits concert every time. So it's very expected that then you would go to a thing, especially because festivals in general get more of the greatest hits because you're trying to reach such a broad audience that may not even like your music specifically.
But then, festival, you're not necessarily going for a specific artist, or maybe you are, but that might not be that artist. Like, there's so many.
There has to be a couple artists that you're going to entice you to buy a big festival ticket. Yes, and you're going more for the experience. You want to go have a good time, drink.
Yeah, I guess
get high. You know, like it's more of like a whole experience kind of thing. You're camping out in the middle of the desert, like. You're already a little grouchy because of all of that. So then when you're just not getting like what you expected, I can see why people would get a little frustrated with that. This also isn't the first time Eric Church in particular has pissed off a crowd because they didn't do what he wanted. He didn't do what they wanted him to do, because this happened at CMA Fest last year. And people were like, he didn't do just the greatest hits. He did a lot of hits though. That's the thing, is that like they just didn't give every hit. And it's
literally just because he didn't play Springsteen at CMA Fest. And then people were convinced he didn't say bye, but they like muted his microphone so he couldn't talk. And like he did wave and like kind of like as he's walking out continued to like wave and stuff. So he definitely did say bye, and people were like, no, he just walked off. And I don't think people realize with CMA Fest it's like maybe 7 songs each, which I think is different from other festivals because this was over an hour long performance. But for CMA Fest it's like 7 songs each.
Yeah,
so
well, and that's the thing, it's already a shorter set list on any festival performance. That's why they just expect the greatest hits. So I can understand from an audience perspective, especially if like maybe the headliner for whatever reason isn't the reason that you're enticed to go to that night, but you still like maybe enjoy their greatest hits. So like you want to go and have a good time. Plus the greatest hits are normally like the more upbeat songs, or just like the more like crowd sing along songs or stuff like that. So I totally understand, but to be really pissed off is a whole different ball game, I think, of like maybe you just say like it wasn't what I expected, but like you do have to give some credit to the artistry behind it, because I think that was the whole reason that Coachella gets so much attention, is because like I think of Beyonce, because she did something similar of like a very different kind of set list than her, like she did the whole big band thing, which was different than just her band playing with her kind of thing. So he did a gospel choir and an acoustic performance, which was still very cool. And so I just don't think that, again, I think it was probably a mixture of things as to why the artistry wasn't appreciated, but it's also like he was trying to give something different than everybody else. And
it's just like, I get wanting to hear the hits and not, if you're not getting what you expected and you were looking forward to it, being disappointed. But also, instead of just, like, leaving, like, you're getting a one-of-a-kind performance that he's never done before, and it's, like, something very unique, and you get to witness it. And I don't know if he'll ever do something like that again, so it's like you could say you were there for this performance.
I just can't imagine walking out on a performance like that. It's just like, I'm trying to think of if like one of our favorite artists were to do something like that. I know Eric is one of your favorite artists anyway, so you probably, or like if you were there for somebody and they just did something completely different. Like, I don't know, I'm trying to like think of it in a different perspective.
I'm kind of just like, this is a little like this is different, but I'm vibing, like, because
but we're musicians too, so it's like we can appreciate something like that,
the artistry to it. Yeah, because I'm a church choir fan club member, so like they put the entire performance up for church club members to watch, so I watched it last night, so I got to watch all of it. But yeah, there were points where I'm like, okay, I understand how like this might get a little bit like, okay, like move on from the gospel stuff, because a lot of that was like back to back to back, but then he started putting in like really random covers, but still like it like keeps the audience on their toes even more so than they already kind of are. Like, okay, what's gonna happen next? Because randomly throwing in his songs, but then also did like Gin and Juice and is it California Love, Tupac? Is that did I write that one down? Like he did a whole just all over the place cover wise, but like it all blended well together transitional wise. And like he does this a lot, not the way he did it this time, but like his 2019 tour and then the 2019 CMA Fest performance, he did like, he sings Mistress Name Music, transitions into, in the tour it was cover songs, CMA Fest was like a medley of his own songs, and then goes back eventually to Mistress Name Music to like tie it up. So
I mean, if you want to go and hear all of Eric's hits, honestly go to his concert and you'll hear everything, full band, you'll hear it all. So it's like, this is like a chance for artists to kind of do that artistry thing. And I think with Coachella, it's like, but again, you don't have to like it each time, and I think that's obviously an opinion that people are allowed to have, and that's not a wrong thing. I think it's a little absurd to get pissed off about it.
But yeah, he so they posted yesterday that the performance was going to be up for fan club members, and there's some that are on YouTube for everybody, and the caption was, Eric performed the most difficult set of his career at Stagecoach, challenging himself and the audience because he cares about both. And I wrote down like 2 thoughts on that. The caring about the audience, like people might think, oh, he doesn't care about the audience because he's not doing what they expect and not singing the hits that they want. But like being experimental is what allows artists to like stay inspired and push themselves to create music.
Yeah.
Because if you're not being experimental, then you're gonna get stuck in just writing and releasing songs that all sound similar and sound the same, and it's just gonna be better off in the long run to allow yourself to experiment and then
honestly,
have better music for the audience.
I think it's more fun when artists change it up a little bit other than just giving the hits, because that's fun and great and fine, but like I also wouldn't have wanted to pay a whole, like, especially for a headliner. I feel like it's in country, you know, your headliner, like it's probably an off chance that you did not go for that headliner. So to then just expect a very bland medley that you would have gotten every other year, because again, hit songs don't exactly like change out all, like you sing your core songs and then like maybe throw in this year's is your extra one, like, but like that's gonna get boring, like, and especially when you go to concerts like that, and it's like, yeah, it's fun, and like, I don't know, it's just good on him for and he does care, like that's the thing, is that like if it would be a different story if he like did it because he just wanted to be selfish and just do it and like not give a damn, but like he does,
and he doesn't care about awards or number ones at this point in his career. He's like done all that and he just wants to be an artist and be able to experiment and stuff. But I think it's like the fans will be rewarded in the long run because the experimentalness of it will allow him to not be stuck in one sound.
Yeah, and it's just it's okay that it wasn't for everybody, but I think then it gives other artists the chance to maybe venture out a little bit too. I mean, it would have been a little more successful, then it would have amped up for next year's, and like then you have to beat Eric Church's big performance, but like it gives people like a chance to be like, okay, how can we think outside the box a little bit, as to then just not doing a very basic, like, because I will say the Morgan Wallen concert that just happened in Nashville here, people were walking out by like 10 o'clock. And so it's like, if you're just given the same performance and it's getting a little old and stale and boring, like people will leave. Like, even though I was having fun a couple years ago, back when I was in like the thick of it and I was going to like the Luke Bryan's of concerts, like it was fun, but like I didn't feel like I was missing anything by leaving.
Yeah.
Because I knew, okay, I heard all the songs I care about.
I am curious, too, if the people were leaving Morgan Wallen because he's here 3 nights. Maybe it was people who were going to multiple nights.
Maybe, but
I don't know.
I also heard, like, well, I know a little bit of, like, the backstage of, like, Bailey Zimmerman puts on a really good show. Okay. And he opens for him. So then, like, if Morgan doesn't match his energy, then it's, like, it's going to fall off by the end of the night. So.
Yeah. My other thing with the most difficult set thing, it was an hour and about 13 minutes, at least the video was. I think probably a couple minutes shorter than that because of intro, outro time. But like in a typical set, there's breaks where you can like take a drink, or like even if you're speaking to the audience, that's a little bit of a break. He's playing guitar for like an hour straight before the full band comes in, and then he stops playing guitar. So like you're just constantly playing. He does allow the gospel singers to shine. They like, several of them get their own moment to take the lead, so that allows his voice to rest, but like that is a lot to do. Like even Taylor, I feel like, gets a little more of a break in between stuff. Like I know she's like changing and stuff, but I would hope they would make the transitions long enough where she has time to change, but also like get a drink of water and like have a moment before going back out, you know?
Yeah.
So he's just like there the entire time, like nonstop pretty much. Let me see what else there was. Joanna Cotton was back.
Oh, okay.
So she got to sing, and like Jesus
is that
does
who you
is like
sent me, or no? Was that somebody else?
No. She's the one who was his background singer for so long, and then she left
no,
the band.
I know, but I just didn't know if that was who you Snapchatted me.
No.
Okay.
No. Let's see. That was about it. Yeah. But yeah, I love that Joanna got to come back. I don't know if she's gonna like join the band again, or if it was just for this performance because of how different it was, but it was nice to see her perform again. Yeah.
So now is the call to action conversation point of the piece, is like, how do you guys feel if for any festival, for any genre, for anything? Because I know Even going back to Coachella this year, it was like Lana was the big headliner, and she got in trouble for going over her time and costing herself some money. But I know people also get upset when like the show doesn't just keep going like hers does. But it does cost them, even on a normal show, because there are zoning laws. There are like lights out times that people have to be done by so that neighborhoods and surrounding areas can sleep. So like it's really not on the artist. It's really not even on the zoning laws. Like it's like you don't really have a choice as to where festivals get put. So if you all of a sudden were a neighbor to a festival and you had to work or had a life and had kids and like stuff, would you really want to be up till 1 a.m. because the concert was still going on? Like, think about it a little bit. But yeah, let us know how you guys feel about different kinds of sets in a festival setting, if that's like what artists should be doing, or if it's like we want to just hear all the greatest hits. Like I want to hear some people.
Artists like cater to the fans and only play what they want, versus like should they be allowed to kind of be experimental a little bit?
I don't even think it's be allowed. I think every artist is allowed to be experimental, but do you think they should
they get complaints for doing so, I guess. Yeah.
Topic after news was going to be songwriting basics. So a songwriting 101 type course. I don't know if this counts as artist inventory. I think so.
But so far we've only done like team members for artist inventory, so I feel like this is different.
I think we have like included in our artist inventory stuff is like 101, so like artist manager 101, and this feels like songwriting 101 kind of a thing.
Okay,
that's in my mind how it goes.
Yeah, okay.
but
yeah, this might sound very like the point is for it to be basic and like
let me say,
like, you don't.
Katie was like, do we really want to break it down? And I was like, every single like I'm gonna keep hitting this, every single like seminar type thing that I have ever gone to was like, okay, we're gonna break down what goes into a song, and then we're gonna do some acronyms, and then we're gonna find hooks, and then we're gonna talk about people in our table, and like we're all gonna write down like 10 ideas, and then we're all gonna share. Like, so it always was like, what is a verse? Like, so I was like, yes, break it down to the very core, and we'll go from there, because every seminar that I have ever gone to does it.
Okay.
And maybe there's some audience members that are like, I'm really interested in the business side, but have never done music, and I'm interested in maybe trying to songwrite.
The creative side, yeah.
Here is your lesson for the day.
Yeah, songwriting basics. So,
we also have some fun aspects to this as well, so we'll get to them.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at any song, literally, probably words. If you like look at your favorite song, it's obviously based off of a similar structure for each song. There's different structures, but a lot of them have the same basic structure, so I guess we can go through what are the basic
I was also going to say, I think there's a structure in country music, there's a structure in like pop music,
okay, yeah,
and then there's a structure in the ether of just like what else is there kind of a thing. And like there are specific aspects that are like kind of pertain to more like putting a piece of the chorus at the start of a song is normally a pop technique over a country technique, or having a really long guitar solo and no bridge is probably a rock song,
right? Like
things like that.
Yeah I think overall the basic structure would be like verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, maybe an outro, maybe there's an intro, but that's like the basic structure, and I guess we can go through what those are too. And
I think even more just like doing basic, it's like what techniques are put into those kinds of things, like what about them makes them unique to that part of the song,
right? So like verses, it's like
we'll start with your intro.
intro, I mean,
intro is normally like a little bit of music just to kind of hook you in. I know in productions, a lot of my producers have tried to also like make a little musical hook to grab you in from the very start. Or if you just start right on the verse, right into the song, then like you really need that first line. I mean, first line of any song is going to be your punch, your hook.
You got to reel
in a sense, because you got to like, okay, wow, why do people want to know more about this song? Like you have to have that really good like bam in your face opening line, which if you overthink it, it will become a lot more difficult than it needs to be. And I think one of the big acronyms in songwriting is keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
KISS. Okay. That's what it is. Yeah. I was like trying to remember what it's KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Because at the core of it all, it is a simple process. And if you start to overthink it, I think that's where revisions kind of come in. But like if you try to be so poetic right out the gate and like, oh my God, I'm going to write the greatest song ever made, you're going to put so much pressure on yourself, and the song's either not going to make sense, or it's going to be filled with way too many metaphors that it's not going to relate to any person for commercial purposes. Maybe that is your point. Maybe you want to write an actual poem that is so deep and deconstructed that it is talked about for years and years and years about what it means. But in the commercial world, it is very simple, to the point. What's your message? But you got to have that first good opening line.
Yeah, unless you're Taylor Swift. If you're not, unless you're Taylor Swift, but unless you're to the point of your career that she's in, where you can start using these more poetic ways of saying things. And
because I've tried with a couple of my things, and like some professional songwriters in town have been like,
don't use words
do you ever use that in daily life? And I'm like, why does it need to be? And he's like, because you have no foot to stand on. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Like, so I mean, you can write a song however you want. Like, it does not mean that you are limited to what you can and cannot write. But if you were trying to get a hit on the radio, until you have that first hit, people are going to question every move you make. And, you know, sometimes you got to tune that out. But if you really want to, you got to have that first song that just lands right in people's ears. And there is, I don't know what it is about it, but like when you have an ear for music, you can just hear a song and you can tell if it will fit that commercial mold. And it is kind of a quote unquote natural instinct. I think you can take all these lessons, you can take all these courses, you can go through all of that stuff, and you can learn how to, but I think at the core of it, there is a bit of some natural talent and instinct in it. And I think
it's just from being a music lover and listening, like, all the time and stuff, like, hearing what is popular, quote unquote, like, what is being successful commercially, listening to that kind of stuff, you kind of start to hear, okay, well, these songs that are popular, what do they have in them? So kind of,
and songwriting,
that, does it sound similar? Not similar like copying, but like overall vibe wise, does it match?
And songwriting, like any other craft, is the whole 10,000 hours. You got to write like 10,000 songs before you start writing really good ones. So like in the beginning, literally write about anything. Write about an orange peel, about how it sits on a counter. Start like really, and some of the books that we'll talk about in another episode when we do our book review have some great techniques of how to do that. Like getting into a habit of waking up every morning, and maybe for the first 10 minutes you're writing down everything you see, describing it in vivid detail to learn how to create an image, because a lot of songwriting is the say don't see, which is one of the harder aspects to grasp. I think it's very easy to say like, oh, we were sitting on the couch and we scooched closer and we made out and we fell in love. Like, it's so easy to say that and put some melodies to it and say it's a song, and it is a song, and but it's not a great song. It's a fine song. It's not a great song. It's not that commercial success song. That's where the more techniques and like learning how to craft a song come into play. But literally anyone can pick up a pen and write a song. Like, that's not stopping you. Right. But these are more, and I think that's where a lot of them kind of break down, why do we have all these things in place and what are they used for, to kind of go into the more like crafting section of what songwriting is. So you start with your intro, kind of find a melodic hook in there if you can, draw people in, go to your verse, and I'll let Katie take it over because she was really supposed to lead this episode, but I talk a lot. Sorry.
So can we jump, actually, I feel like, to chorus and then verse? I know that's out of order of structure, but I feel like chorus is like your overall idea. That's where your hook is going to be. Either it could be beginning or end. Mostly
standard is normally your beginning or end for
sometimes
like a
circle, or what is that called, circle, where it starts at, or the same hook is at the, not same hook, same line that is the hook is the beginning and the end of the chorus sometimes, but it could be either. But I feel like ending is the most common.
Yeah, that's normally about like 80% of songs are normally probably in that vein of like, oh, the hook is what summarizes it all. It's that big gut punch. It's that
the point of the song.
It's your summary.
It's like the feeling. It's the summary. It's like your overall like point of the story or feeling or whatever you're talking about in the song,
because it's the thing that repeats, so it has to make sense to multiple
and probably verses. The most catchy part of the song melodically as well, especially the hook, because that's what's gonna really decide if the listener is liking the song, basically.
It's the part that you want them to go back and be able to sing right away.
Because if it falls short, like, they're not really gonna want to hear the song again if the hook doesn't really like hit the way it needs to hit to like really get you
right.
So that's like overall ideas, like more broad type of ideas in the chorus, but then when you get into the verses, that's where you're getting those details, and that's where you can do more of the like visuals of like get the listener to visualize what's going on in the song story-wise, or like what place you're in. Usually verse 1, you want to start with like, okay, let's get the listener into like, where are we right now? What is happening? Kind of set the scene of the song and what's happening and all that. So you're getting more of the details and more specific things happening in the verses, but then your chorus is more broad, like I said.
Broad arching overall.
Yes. And then if you do a bridge, not all songs do bridges, but that's kind of like the bridge is, if you do a bridge with lyrics, it's like usually when you get to that point writing wise, you're like, okay, what haven't we said? What's an additional detail that's gonna actually add something to the song?
Bridges are only necessary if you really do need to add that last part. Don't force a bridge if you have said everything in the song, because then you're just starting to repeat everything, and that's not what you need in a bridge. That bridge is that extra big punch if it's needed in the song.
It could also just be like a hooky like sing-along thing, something like that. If you're going, probably more often in pop music, have like a more hooky, it's not the hook, but you know, I get like hooky, like catchy melody type of thing would be the only reason I think for having a bridge where it's not adding extra details. Like Springsteen, Eric Church is just woes, so something like that, that just like adds a little extra something to the song to just give it something different, so it's not as repetitive, I guess.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if you're trying to write like a lyrical bridge, then you want to make sure you're not just repeating yourself. And
that's what makes a Taylor Swift style bridge so different and unique and crucial, and like why everyone loves them so much is because they are just that extra layer of like something new in the song and just that big extra punch. So, and not most of them, if not all, most of them, and not all of them have to be these big long bridges. It can be as simple as a phrase. It can be as simple as just something else that just, again, it's going to add like and not just repeat everything else that you said, because then you're essentially writing another chorus and you already have a strong chorus. But
and then there's other little things in songs, like the little parts. Those are the basic parts, but like a pre-chorus is gonna tie your verse into the chorus and help you get into that. I feel like the point of a pre-chorus also is just like it changes up the melody from the verse too, of okay, we need a couple more lines to connect the verse to the chorus to where it makes sense, and it's not like a big jump of like difference.
Yeah. But again,
then
you're changing the
melodically-
melody also
Right.
to change kind of what you're saying. And again,
Yeah.
if especially in story type writing, you use it because you're setting the scene in the verse, and then you're gonna kind of draw into like what the feeling is, and then the chorus is the feeling of everything.
But it's also,
So-
I think, the point of why it's not just also part of the verse is to change up that melody, so you're not just repeating it to the point of where it gets old.
Right. And that's the difference between the pre and the verse, really, is like if there is a melodic shift to get to that chorus. It's just another verse then if it's the same melody and it's just like a little bit of phrasing is different. Like it's still a verse. You're still using the same technique. So
Yeah. And then there's like post choruses, which I think are usually...
I'm a big fan of the post chorus. If you've heard any of my songs,
I feel like it's either a hook,
we wrote a song together called Better With You.
Yeah.
And the ending goes, life's better with you. Ooh, 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 ooh. And the little oohs are your post, because then I do it again. Ooh, 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 ooh.
But then there's like...
I love those
Taylor
little catchies to like bring people in, and like that's also a sing along moment.
Fun way to do it, I think. Or that's like I don't want to say it's not fun post chorus wise, but that's the more catchy way of doing it.
Yeah.
But then like I know Taylor has songs that have like post choruses where it's like almost like a second chorus but a different melody.
Right.
Like I don't know how to say the name. Are we going to LOML? Because then it gets the love and loss.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, how are people saying this name out loud? That one has like a chorus and a post chorus. So that's just one example that I don't know how many people will know. But if you're a Swiftie, you do. But and then outro can be like, because usually after the bridge, you'll go back to the chorus. And so the outro could be like repeating the chorus or doing like a half chorus and then repeating the full chorus kind of thing. And then it could also end with some sort of catchy hook thing, like the U's for Better With You could be also an outro.
Yeah.
Unless you're gonna do some really fun production things that most people don't do, but like
I did
Taylor
though. In Love School I did it. I have like a whole minute of like a lot of a big band as my outro.
Well, yeah, you can do fun instrumental outros too.
Yeah.
But I was thinking like lyrically and stuff of like how Taylor has like kind of goes back to different parts of the song and kind of molds them together in a way that they weren't originally order wise. So that's a thing too, but that's a more complicated thing. I think that kind of covers all the different areas. And like I mentioned, like usually it's verse, if there's a pre, then chorus, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. But there's also other structures that are less common and such. You could do 2 verses before the chorus. Some songs just do verses and then a hook at the end of each verse.
Yeah.
Which
some
is more...
use it more as like a chorus or verse, and then they have just a bridge as like what would be their chorus kind of a structure. But it's just, again, it's all how you want to structure your song, really, is how it gets labeled and how you define it,
and what makes the most sense, I think, for whatever story you're trying to get across.
And that'll come when you just write a lot more about how, like, oh, okay, this song needs a pre-chorus. That just comes with time of writing. You can also, to learn how to use and incorporate these, listen to a bunch of songs. Yeah. Listen to a bunch of songs in different genres as well, because like a jazz type of genre is going to use a much different song structure a lot of times than like a pop song is. So if you're just listening to a bunch of pop songs, probably going to get this very basic structure. But if you listen to a bunch of different genres, then you're probably going to be able to find, oh, this would probably be a verse bridge situation, or like a verse chorus only kind of thing, or like a chorus and then a bridge. Like that's kind of all they use. So I would print out lyrics to like some of your favorite songs and go through and label, like, this is the verse, this is the chorus, This is, and again, just like for repeating melodic structures, one thing we haven't talked about yet is rhyme schemes, repeating rhyme schemes, that kind of thing. That's another technique here we'll talk about.
Yeah, I think rhymes would probably be the next thing to talk about.
Okay.
So I think next would be talking about the rhyme scheme. So most songs have lines that rhyme. I know people who are like, I don't care if they rhyme or not, and I'm like, okay, but you have to have really good writing for people not to care about the rhymes, because I think that's just...
In a commercial setting, it is like that kind of feeling in your soul when you hear a song. It's something you don't notice until it stops rhyming, honestly.
Do we want to give an example of a bad one? Is that bad?
Sure. I didn't know Katie had the tea over here.
Well, so Brian Kelly, which is one half of Florida Georgia Line, Mr. Florida of Florida Georgia Line. He has a song called Florida Boy Forever.
You know what he deserves if this is a bad song? Because he went to Belmont and talked to songwriting teachers all the time.
Come on, Belmont. Okay, let me see.
Did he write it?
That's actually probably a good point. Probably. So this is written by Brian Kelly, Corey Crowder, Blake Redfarid, I don't know how to say his name, sorry, Kaden Smith, and Jake Rose. So there's 5 people on this song.
And Kaden Smith can write a song, Corey Crawford,
Jake Rose can. Like,
yeah.
They all can, so I'm like, why didn't you rhyme the hook? Of all things, you need to rhyme the hook unless it like makes sense.
Unless it makes sense, because what we do sometimes in our courses is we'll do
it's like
A, B, B, and then a C as your hook to like just tie it all together.
I'm trying to think.
So okay,
I know
let's
a Taylor song that does that on her new album, and
Love
I can't
of My
think
Life.
of which one.
I want to say does it.
Maybe.
Anyways, let's talk about different rhyme schemes. So your rhyme schemes are normally kind of, we call it AB, or AABB, or there's different letters, and the letters correspond with which words rhyme together. Right. So your verse will have like one structure, and a good technique is to change up your verse from your chorus sometimes. So your verse may be an AABB, and then you go to the next verse and it's CCDD, or again AABB, same things as the top, and then your chorus could be an A, B, A, B, C, or A, B, C, A, B, that kind of a thing for the rhyme schemes you can do, or just like A, B, A, B, A, B for the whole chorus. Or you can reverse that, and your verse can be an A, B, and then C, D, C, D, and then your verse can be A, B, B, that kind of thing. So again, it just corresponds to different rhymes at the end of your songs, but we're gonna discuss, I guess, a bad version of this song.
Well, we were saying, like, I started looking up the Taylor one to try and find it. Fortnite doesn't rhyme, but I think it's like some songs it doesn't matter just because, I don't know, just doesn't. I guess why wouldn't it matter?
Again, there's something sometimes about just a gut feeling of it, just like you don't notice. Again, it's like if it doesn't notice, it's probably okay. If you are blatantly staring in the face of it and it's gonna bother you, then it probably hasn't a rhyme in it.
Because like Fortnite ends with "Now you're my backyard turned into good neighbors. Your wife waters flowers. I want to kill her." And
it doesn't make sense.
I guess
honestly.
Her and neighbors are near-ish rhymes, but it doesn't, and flowers, but I don't know, to me it doesn't feel like
I feel
rhymes.
Like it's a I
guess it does actually.
What is it when it's called? No, well, because it's weather, kill her, it does kind of rhyme there.
Yeah, it does. Never mind.
Yeah,
visually not.
Sometimes it's just in the way you say it too when you're singing the song. That's why you get some weird
down bad
rhymes.
Doesn't, but it's like hooky enough that it doesn't matter for the post-chorus, because it's just down bad. F it if I can't have him. Down bad. F it if I can't have him.
Well, that's the post-chorus.
Okay.
The chorus itself, I think, rhymes, right? Jim, him.
Yeah. But if we're just talking about the hook,
blood up.
Us.
Blood us. But stay doesn't need to rhyme because, again, the rest of it does.
I know there's an example. I just can't find it. Is it all too well? Yeah, wind in my hair. I was there. I remember it all too well. That doesn't have any type of rhyme for all too well, right?
street meet
here and there. But yeah, the hook doesn't rhyme with anything. Yeah, so
but
that's
again,
an
it
example.
doesn't need to.
I know. I'm saying like
Yeah.
an example where it doesn't have to. Versus
No.
it does.
Oh, yeah. For the hook itself, no, it does not have to rhyme with the rest of it. But then again,
Sometimes it does. Like, it hits better if it does. But in that example, it doesn't need to.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, yeah, you already said, like, if it feels like it needs to, then do it. But otherwise, if it feels fine without, like, it's just kind
again,
of like a
sometimes
feeling
it has
thing with
internal
time.
rhymes within itself that it kind of like evens itself out. Rhyme schemes can get tricky. That's another thing is like you can go in and intentionally find a rhyme scheme and maybe that's how you start your writing process. I know that was always like one thing, but like for me it was always like what feels good. So I would write a whole song and then I'd go back and realize, oh, there are no rhymes in this, and then the more I sing it to other people, they were like, it feels off, and I was like, oh, it's because I don't have some rhymes. So it's like sometimes you do need to like look back and like read through and like find those rhyme schemes for yourself to realize, oh, this could be stronger if it has a rhyme scheme in it. So
yeah, to me, I heard this going back now to Florida Boy Forever. When I heard it, I was like, that's definitely missing a rhyme. It just doesn't feel complete. The lines leading up to the hook rhyme, so that's fine. Should I read all of it or just like the two that bother me?
just the chorus, yeah.
The whole chorus?
Yeah.
Okay. Colorado, California, and that clay way down in Georgia.
There's the rhyme.
Yep.
Georgia and California.
Yep. I always find my way back home. Carolina, Mississippi. Always keep that sunshine with me. So Mississippi and me. Sure as waves crash on the shore, I'll be the Florida boy forever I know. I guess it's supposed to be with home, maybe.
Yeah, but it feels too far away for it to get that across.
Yeah, I know that's a thing that people do of like A, B, C, B.
Yeah.
But sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. This just, for a hook, I feel like the rhyme needs to be
when the
right
rhymes
next to it.
Get too far away, it's when it can well, we've done that a couple times with our writing. Right. We'll do like 2 lines in a verse, and then we'll do a third, and then we'll do another 2 lines in another verse, and then connect.
I think
it
a
back.
verse works. I think it's just the hook where it's like you want the rhyme to be
right
in the line
there.
Directly before it.
Yeah, because
to make it
normally that next line leading up to it is to really push that hook forward and drive the song further to reach that final, like it's like in a chord progression as well, when like you're like hanging on that suspension and the like don't resolve the chords, which I guess is also very musical terms, but it's like it's just like that gut feeling of like
yeah,
and then you don't get that like final resolve of
right.
It's like if a climax of a movie ends, it can be. John Mayer does it in some of his songs, but it's an intentional choice
at the end where it's like you want to. It feels like it needs to resolve, but it's like, well, you didn't get closure. Is the point?
It would be like if a climax of a movie happened and you just like stopped mid-fight after like the guy realizes it, and like you don't have like the resolve afterwards of like him actually killing the guy, or so. I guess that was a very brutal
or a character dies and then that's it, and
and like there's
that.
Nothing of like it would be just like that kind of dramatic pause and then like nothing, and then you're just like,
I can't say
settle. It's unsettling in your stomach, it gives you anxiety, it's like that just like moment of like what, and then you just have nothing. Again, artistic choices are a thing.
Okay. Yeah, I just feel like also the line before doesn't rhyme with anything, so maybe that's also why I'm like, those 2 lines need to rhyme. That would make more sense. Of sure as waves crash on the shore, I'll be the Florida boy forever I know. Like, shore doesn't rhyme with anything.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It just that's why it feels I think very
that's
incomplete.
Another reason why I'm like, you needed to rhyme that. I don't know what word necessarily to put there, but
it does feel very sloppy and incomplete.
You have 5 writers, and not a single one of you could have came up
hit
with a
songwriters. All of them are in that room are hit songwriters too.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's the example I think of when I'm like, guys, you need to rhyme your hook. So, sorry guys, but that's my opinion on that song.
We had a lot more information and fun things to share, but I think that'll be a part
do a
2.
Fun second episode looking into like our songs when we were first starting out writing.
Yeah, we'll break some songs down for you guys. We'll go through the writing trials and tribulations that was early songwriting for us.
Yeah. Do we want to cover anything about just like song ideas, or is that another
No,
thing?
we'll do that with that so that we actually have some content in there too.
Okay,
We had a lot in this episode. But yeah.
All right. So I guess that's it for this one, since we're gonna kind of do a whole nother episode.
Ooh, we left you on a cliffhanger. Ha ha ha, after we just told you not to do that.
Whoops. It's fine. Yeah, so you can keep up with us on socials at the Music Lens Podcast. You can follow Alex at Alex Laker Music and myself at Katie V Music. Please rate and review us if you're liking what you're hearing, because that helps us with the algorithm and get more people to listen and get this information. Is there anything else? If you want to email us, like we mentioned, like if you have thoughts on the whole debate about artists at festivals and should they just play hits or should they just do what they want, I guess.
If you have musical stories you'd like to share with us, if you have some songwriting inspiration that you'd like to send our way, please do it at themusiclenspodcast@gmail.com. Yes. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Bye.